Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. It's Tough Love Tuesday. Tough Love Tuesday. And yeah, I feel really good after taking last week off. I think I took last week off, or was it the week before? Oh, well, I don't know. But anyway, I'm happy to be back here. It's Coach Tracy. And let's see, I forgot to put this banner up. Today we're checking habits. We're going to talk about habits and how they start and how we can help ourselves create habits that are more supportive to us and what our goals are. So it'll be pretty simple, but yeah, so I thought it'd be a really good one to talk about since as a coach, habits are really important. And so anyway, for this broadcast, I utilize resources from jamesclear.com, Psychology Today, NPR, developgoodhabits.com, and also greatest.com, fitness deskercise. So, and I've added a bit of my own stuff. So anyway, if you're listening live or if you're listening on the podcast, these are recorded live. And so if you hear an odd noise, I do hear hammering next door in our building. So you just might hear some hammering this evening. And also be sure to check out my book, Your Personal Journey with Food, a roadmap for the confused and frustrated dieter. It's available on Amazon, and you can order it on most of your independent bookstore websites as well. So in there, we talk about habits. So yeah, so anyway, how do our habits form? So it's basically, as I've learned, it's a psychological pattern, and it's called a habit loop. So it's basically a 3-part process that includes a trigger. We'll talk about triggers, the behavior itself of the habit, and then the reward associated with it. So habits are created through a trigger, a behavior, that the trigger creates, and then also then the reward associated with it. And for me, I've had to break a lot of habits that were not supporting me because my reward system was a little messed up, which is how I became pre-diabetic, why I yo-yo dieted all the time. So how do they form? So habits are behaviors that we basically can do on autopilot. So it means we really don't have to think about them anymore. And these neural patterns develop in our brain after repeatedly doing something over a period of time. And again, the first part is forming a habit trigger. So something that we see, a time of day, or another cue that can tell us, tells our brain to go into auto mode and allow a behavior to unfold. So auto mode could be, I know a lot of it is everyone has dinner, and then even though you're full, you just on autopilot, you go to the fridge thinking, I need something sweet, or I should have dessert. Or auto mode may be going to the fridge and, I struggle with this is popcorn, and things like that. So I have to really work on breaking that habit of thinking I need to go and eat more when I'm not hungry. So that's something. So basically, it's a time of day, or usually a time, can be a trigger, a location, a preceding event, an emotional state, or the presence of other people can all cue triggers. And I don't know about you, but it'd be interesting if you think about it. What do you think some of your triggers are? Let's see. I guess we say Pavlov's dogs. They had triggers where they just assumed they were hungry when they heard a bell, right? And that was a trigger, and a habit would go to eat the food. So the habits, there's a difference. Like we've got habits and we have decisions. So that's the next thing we want to talk about. So neuroscientists have traced our habit-making behaviors to a part of the brain called the basal ganglia, which also plays a significant role in development of emotions, memories, and pattern recognition in the world around us. So I don't know about you, but sometimes when I hear a song, that memory, that trigger of that song is so great, it'll take me right back in time to a moment, So anyway, But when so that happens in that basal ganglia. But decisions, on the other hand, are made in different parts of our brain. As soon as a behavior we decide to engage in becomes automatic, the decision-making part of our brain goes into kind of a sleep mode. So we're just kind of on autopilot, and that's why, like, you can drive somewhere and you might, be singing or talking and you don't even realize how far you've gone. Just things that's you're just on autopilot. So, and that's why, again, it's easy, to develop these habits, because I think it must be an energy saving thing for our brain. But the behavior or routine. So the second piece of forming habits involves a routine or the behavior, as I mentioned. So think about this question. What are 3 habits that you like to break or create for yourself? So 3 habits you'd like to break, and then 3 habits that you would like to create. And take a moment to write them down on a piece of paper, so you have them. But think about that. 3 that you want to break and 3 that you want to go ahead and create. So the next part I had mentioned about habits is that we have a reward. Our brain has a reward that it links to the behavior. So once the habit is performed, the reward helps our brain remember the habit loop, to repeat in the future. So if you are exercising, let's say, and you finally get in the habit, your brain remembers the loop. We do this, we feel really great afterwards, we want to do it. Or the brain is like, no, I don't want to get up in the morning. I don't want to get up in the morning. Why would I want to get up in the morning? I want to stay in bed. That's the habit. So, the reward. So the reward for not getting up, going for your walk, or doing what it is you need to do, is the reward is staying in bed longer. So how would you think about maybe changing that around and getting the brain to say, oh my gosh, it's so worth to get up a little bit earlier so I can exercise, and the reward of feeling incredible is so great. I can't wait to get up and do it. And I admit I'm still working on that loop. My brain likes to work out a little later, but for me it was find your compromise. What's the habit, those 3 habits you would like to revise, and what's their reward? And then what 3 habits would you like to create, and what kind of a reward would you like to give yourself? So that's how the brain starts to create the loop. So, breaking bad habits, or I like to say non-supportive habits. Sometimes saying bad and good, a good habit or bad habit. Maybe breaking a non-supportive habit for you. First thing you want to do is identify the trigger of that habit. What is it that sets you off to want to do whatever it is that's not supporting you? Is it a food item? I know I've told this story over and over again, but it was the darn Rite Aid. I couldn't see a Rite Aid sign without knowing that there were Runts and Skittles in there. And I would pull over to get them. And then the harder part was when I had to go into Rite Aid, or, and to go get a prescription, say for my mom or whatever. I couldn't get past the aisle that the Skittles or the Runts were in. But my reward was, I loved them. I loved the sugar. I loved all that. But so my brain said, okay, we're going to go in there, we're going to walk in there, and we're going to buy them, and we're going to eat it, because that reward of the taste to me was so great. And so getting aware of what your trigger is. So that way you can pull yourself out of that auto mode. All right. So what I had to do was I had to change my routine around it. So I forced myself, and I would not go into Rite Aid. If I had no reason to go in there, I wasn't going in. And I reward myself with like a high five. I'd be so proud of myself. I didn't go in there. Now, if I had to go in there for shopping or something like that, I forced myself to avoid that lane, the aisle that had all that candy in it. And I would reward myself with this, I just felt so proud of myself that I got out of Rite Aid without buying it. And then And then my body and my mind started to connect, and I realized how absolutely horrible I would feel after eating that. But my reward was so great at that moment in time, I couldn't see the downfall of how horrible I felt. So that's another thing you can do, associate that behavior, figure out the trigger, what makes that behavior happen, and then dissect it and figure out another way to get around it. So this way you can, again, develop newer, more supportive and healthier habits for yourself. So, so every step is progress. So, you pick something and you go ahead and enjoy the progress. Those can be small rewards, small steps. I had many small steps, reversing some of my stuff wasn't easy. And still, I know I can't have that stuff in the house. So I'm jumping ahead, but I can't allow those things in my home, because my willpower is so challenged, so I just can't buy it. I won't buy it. So that's a way to kind of stop yourself from doing things or having them tempting you. Because I was talking about next was about, say if we're binge eating cookies or a bag of chips or whatever, one thing you can do if you're not ready to give them up, a way to make progress. And what I'll do is sometimes I like chips, but I will put them in a very small bowl with a serving size. And that is my treat. And I don't let myself go back. I will not let myself go back and eat them. And so savoring them too and enjoying them versus just blindly eating them. So if you're trying also to exercise, oh my gosh, you can do some squats while brushing your teeth or calf raises while brushing your teeth. But anyway, you can practice that discipline. I have a hard time saying really willpower because sometimes willpower just can get bowled over by a trigger. So, but practicing small steps of discipline to kind of start getting your brain to buy in, thinking, oh my gosh, this could be a reward. This could be really great. Yeah. And then the other thing, like I said, don't let the stuff in the house if it's about food. You just don't let it in the house. And then you have to find something else. One thing that helps me when I have the sweet tooth is, I'll cut up some apples, I'll bake them with some cinnamon on them, and that'll be my treat. I add no sugar. And it really, and I'm salivating. Now it really satisfies that little sweet tooth. And it's very, if you can have apples and you can have cinnamon, it's actually very, very good for you. It's not like a dessert laden with added sugar. So there's ways to go around it. So this next tip has helped me a lot too, creating prompts for yourself. So if you're trying to get out and exercise more, create a prompt, a timer. Put it on your calendar, that I'm going to go do a 15-minute walk, or I'm going to go and do this at this time of day, and commit to that. And pretty soon you're just going to be all excited to go out and do it. And especially when we're inside and all the time with a lot of jobs, either in the office or at home. So prompts for that. If you want to go to bed earlier, this has helped me a lot. I have a reminder that comes on. That, a little timer. It says time for bed, time to gear down. And that lets my mind know, okay, it's time for me to, ease back on TV, start dimming some lights, have something like a little cup of tea or whatever it might be. But my brain now knows I am cued in. I know when to go to bed, and I get better sleep too, because I go to bed earlier. So you can do, like I said, a timer, little pictures around, anything that's visually helping you to remember that you want to start implementing a new habit with a new trigger. Okay. So the payoff, what reward do you want to give yourself? So like I said, we have the trigger, we have the behavior, we have the reward. So modifying those rewards, one thing I was talking to a couple of clients about was they would always want to reward themselves for exercising or good behavior all week with ice cream or a bunch of stuff on the weekend, which would basically counter everything that they had just done. So we talked about, well, what other rewards could you have instead of that? It's a great example here is like if maybe you want to quit smoking or you want to stop drinking. Every time you would have bought a pack of cigarettes or every time you would want to buy, you would have gone and bought alcohol, go ahead and put that in a vacation jar. You would be so happy. Just tally up. Maybe you need to figure out how painful this is actually for you. If you're not, the habit of stopping those, over drinking or stopping smoking for your health isn't enough. Can your brain trigger into how much money you're spending, even maybe on a latte, every day? Gosh, they're like $6 now, I think, sometimes upwards of $6 to $5 for a latte, times how many days do you buy those? So can your brain find the trigger? The reward is actually keeping the money, or is the reward, in getting it from finding the reward in spending the money on that item that may have lots of sugar, or it's just harming your health? So figure out a new reward. And I actually have some money jars that are kind of fun here, and then it's like my brain triggers in, oh my gosh, I'm going to go ahead and save the money and also, not waste the money on something that maybe is not supporting my body, right? So figure out your new reward, or it could be going and getting a massage, going and take that money to get a massage, and getting a new outfit, whatever that needs to be for you that's actually supportive to you. Okay. And your finances. So again, find the trigger, figure out what the behavior is, figure out what your brain thinks the reward is, and, start tweaking those. So that can help over time. Now, again, in regards to fitness, as you know, I'm a trainer, so we're going to talk about fitness. So being active really not only helps the body, but it does help your mind. It's very important. So I'd said getting outside, physically moving your body. We are meant to move, and we have very, very sedate lifestyles. And so that is harming us as how we were made to be, right? So getting out for a walk, things like that. So I guess the question, what habits do you have in place when it comes to staying active? So look at those habits. And if you don't have any yet, that's okay. That's a place, you can get inspired and start figuring that out. And here's some. You can take the stairs instead of, the elevator or the escalator. You can park. You've probably heard all these. Take the stairs, park farther away from the store. You'll save a ton of gas and time versus going all around. Just park the car and walk in, and get some good steps that way. And allow yourself just a second to make the decision. So you see those stairs, you're going for the stairs. You see the first parking spot, even though it's far away, you take it and you walk in. Okay. So those are ways of kind of remodifying. I'm doing some exercises again with some, I like to have notifications for myself to get up. You probably may have an app on your phone or whatever that you can set a timer to get up and stand. If you go to the coffee machine, do some calf raises while you're there. Really engage your muscles if you're sitting down and getting back up, so kind of you have a squat. See how creative you can get with trying to get movement in all during the day. I think one thing I noticed, again, with COVID was I really didn't change my eating style, but I realized my activity level, because I wasn't at the gym training people. I wasn't exercising at the gym myself, but everything became smaller. But I was eating the same amount of food. And although it was good food, I still was just too much energy coming in for what I was putting out. And so I realized my brain was like, gosh, I got to get up and move like I did when I was working in the studio, at the gym, and going out and going to the store, all of that. So you can do that, like I said, through going out and going for a walk. Here's something fun is when you're cleaning your house, think of it as exercise, because it really is. You're moving your body, and some of it's hard. So, it's just kind of fun. There's some fun tidbits here. But sweeping, 10 minutes, burns 37 calories. Vacuuming for 10 minutes, the same. Ironing, not my favorite thing. Don't like doing that. Ironing 20 minutes, 50 calories. Mopping, 20 minutes, 42. Making a bed by 10 minutes, 23. Washing dishes, 10 minutes, 26 calories. But that adds up. Say if you did that all in one day, you got what, 20, 40, 80, 110. Oh my gosh, almost 200 some calories. That's pretty good. So if you can think about how active can you make, everything you do, right? So at first, like I said, it doesn't look like much, but it really does add up. So yeah, even little things, like I said, making your bed, encourage movement and organization, and doing that and focusing on the positive of the movement actually makes your brain think this is pretty awesome. I'm helping my body stay fit, that kind of stuff. So now we're going to move on to mental habits. So, we can choose to have triggers that engage us in habits that don't serve us mentally, right? So we're going to just focus on a few of those now. One is, don't go to bed angry. So don't go to sleep angry. So if you do have words left unspoken, see if you can get out of the habit of thinking the reward is better to go to bed angry, or get in the habit of just clearing things up before the end of the day, however you need to do that with whoever it might be. So that way you can sleep probably better. Just knowing that you did that, even in a tough case, at least you would know that you discussed it. And that can help, have a better day, the next day. Having a habit of knowing yourself. So let's just say, you're tired and maybe you didn't have a good night's sleep because you didn't clear things up with someone the night before. You can be easily irritated with someone else. Have a habit of knowing that you might feel this way. So when you're with someone, you can say, hey, I had a bad night's sleep. And, so if I say grumpy, just know that's why. And that way, if you do become short with somebody, you can have that, have a habit of just being honest the way you feel about certain things. And that can really ease your brain too, to not have to pretend that you're not feeling a specific way. Another habit we can all have that's harmful to our health is being really judgmental. So one of the most wonderful things I learned in school was, again, we accept people where they are, and we don't know what's going on in their life. We don't know any of that. And so, whenever we look at somebody, we can have an instant judgment. But one really wonderful habit is to say, when you see somebody, find what's good about them. Great personality. Are they very, they're intelligent. They're giving in a great, supportive way. They support you or whatever it might be. See if you can find a compliment, and then, you get bonus points for giving that compliment. And this one I love too, which is a really good habit, is just keep learning. The aspect of our brain always wanting to learn is it's very important for us. And so we can, the habit can be very much overlooked, but, how can you learn more? So maybe instead of binge watching a certain show over and over again, challenge yourself to watch a foreign film, something maybe you've never seen, and maybe a different documentary, something you've never known before. See if you can challenge your brain to realize just going into that neutral mode of shutting down, but having enjoyment and reward of again, learning something new. So you can do, a TV series in a different language and have the reward of maybe picking up some language, or watching or listening to a podcast like mine or this show can be very helpful. So to learn something. And so having a habit, so the trigger that you, hey, I know I want to learn something, and then doing the behavior, and then the brain and you find the reward is all this great new knowledge and understanding that you didn't have before. So that's another good thing. So I think I talked about it again. I just went ahead and talked about, basically some healthy habits in terms of food, talked about fitness and then the mind. But again, understanding that habit loop, it's the trigger, the behavior, and the reward. So I would really spend some time out and have fun with it. That's the other thing, is do it with this idea of like, I want to learn about myself. I want to learn what my triggers are. And that'll help keep that really negative side of your mind that's very judgmental towards yourself or towards you from being more inquisitive instead. So yeah, why do we do this? Why do we have this habit? How can we figure out how to, insert a way to alter that habit? What is it you need to do? So again, that was acknowledging it. If it's food, sometimes like me, it just can't be in the house because my willpower is not that great. Finding the reward then is I just feel better. Finding different rewards. I think I talked about that with, say you want to drink less, you want to quit smoking. I would say add up the money that you invest in those things. And whenever you would think you would have a drink or a cigarette, you put that money in a jar for vacation. So just to reiterate, just get really creative and have fun with it. And not to say your brain's not going to kick back on you and have an attitude. Sometimes it will. But again, it's educating it to find other rewards. So again, trigger, behavior, reward. Remember that, trigger, behavior, reward. Okay. So I think that's it. Not going long tonight. Yes, I hope you learned something valuable. I did when I did the research. So yeah, again, write down some of the things I said, 3 things that you would like to eliminate and 3 supportive habits that you would like to create, and start, figuring, how can I do this? And how can I be more aware? That's that mindful living, right? So anyway, that's it for tonight. Tough Love Tuesday. I know you can do it. If you want to get those supported habits in and replace those that are not supporting you, get ready and do it. Just do it. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later. Have a great night, everybody. Okay. Talk to you soon. And I'm going to keep talking to you until I find the end broadcast button. All right. Have a good night, everybody.